Reports today indicate Verizon may be looking into the possibility of buying Netflix to make a big push into online video. Our senior West Coast correspondent, Jon Erlichman, is in the newsroom with more. Jon, is this happening or not?
It would be something if it does. What we do know is last week we reported Verizon met with Redbox to discuss a content distribution deal, and now Deal Reporter says Verizon might go after Netflix. For more on this story, we're joined by Porter Bibb of Mediatech Capital Partners, which advises media companies. He's in New York. Porter, what can you tell us about this possibility of Verizon going after Netflix?
Well, I think it's a very strong possibility. Verizon last week, as you noted, John, announced that they're making a major push into streaming, video streaming. They don't have any customers and they don't have any content. They get both of that by buying Netflix. And Netflix is now at an affordable price, at a market cap of under $4 billion. It's a lot more attractive than it was last July at $16 billion.
And have you heard from anyone close to Verizon that they would seriously make a move like this?
I am hearing rumblings from inside Verizon that they're very serious about either Netflix or something similar. And candidly, there's nothing similar out there. Netflix owns the streaming market right now. Hulu is off the market, and the other players are really either not yet out of the gate. I'm talking about Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook, all of whom are really looking hard at getting into the streaming business. But Netflix is the pioneer in this business. And if you look at it from the point of view of what it would cost any of these big companies to accumulate a customer base of 23 million, which is what Netflix has, at around $200 per Netflix subscriber, $4.6 billion is more than affordable by any of these players, and they can pick it up for significantly less, a few hundred million less than $4.6 billion.
Well, look, the stock today rose and was at around $75 a share.
Right.
In the summer, it was a $300 stock.
That's
I'm
right.
sure Reed Hastings wouldn't be all that eager to sell after, what, a 70% drop in the stock. So how does Reed Hastings factor into this, the founder of Netflix?
Reed Hastings has used and abused his shareholders in a way that is just, it stands out as a remarkable case history in corporate governance. He's been on a regular selling campaign ever since he started Netflix, and so he's got an exchequer that is bulging right now, despite the 75% loss in the share price. But he doesn't really have any option. He's got to listen to people who are talking about buying Netflix because A, he's got a declining customer base. B, he's got a share price that's going nowhere fast, and he's going into the market shortly with another $400 million capital raise. He's got very little cash, about $350 million. Next year, he's got $2.4 billion in liabilities that he owes the content providers he's contracted to. So he's painted himself into a corner. He's now just got to find the best buyer at the best price he can.
Well, hypothetically, if Verizon came to the table with an offer, whether it was a hostile one or not, Reed Hastings sits on the boards of Microsoft and Facebook.
Right.
Do you think others would see an offer from Verizon and say, hold on, we might be interested in doing something too?
I think we might have a very interesting auction going because these other companies that you just mentioned that Reed Hastings sits on the board of, Facebook and Microsoft, they both want to get into the streaming business just as badly as Verizon does. And yes, I think there's going to be a lot of action in the next few weeks. And you're going to see Netflix not as a standalone probably before Easter.
That would be interesting. Porter, before we go,
yeah.
Hollywood has obviously had a tricky relationship with Netflix, and we haven't seen any big media companies go after Netflix because of that tricky relationship. How would Hollywood think about Verizon owning Netflix?
They're licking their chops because they want a deep pockets player to own Netflix so they can ramp up the content contracts that they've got with Netflix. Netflix paid absolutely nothing for the big Stars deal that put them on the map 3 years ago. $30 million it was for something like 10,000 movies. So Hollywood and the TV networks are saying this is manna from heaven. They want any of these big players to jump into streaming as fast as possible.
All right, Porter. Well, thanks as always for your perspective. Porter Bibb of Mediatech Capital Partners joining us from New York. Emily, he says by Easter, someone's going to own Netflix.
We will be watching